Hi, and welcome to my channel. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Bree, also known as High Cheeks. And for today's look, I'll be doing the soft pink tones featuring the new Nude by Huda Beauty. So please stay tuned. So first, I like to start with the clean face. And next, I'm gonna go in with my Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. It's actually a 2-in-1. It is a moisturizer and a primer in one. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on that on the back of my hand. I'm gonna warm it up with my other hand. And I'm just gonna press it all over my face. And this is great for this particular foundation because this is like an extra matte full coverage foundation, and it allows it to move throughout the skin. It kind of still gives you like a little bit of a tacky feel, which is good because I'm oily. So with this particular foundation, you do want to have something that keeps you matte and keeps the oil control. And that particular primer does give you a little bit of tackiness, but also enough balance of a hydration where you can still move the foundation around because this is quite matte. And the foundation that I'm referring to is the Cover FX. This is the Power Play mattifying full coverage foundation, and it's in the shade N100. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit on the back of my hand, so not too much, just enough. I'm gonna go in with my sponge. I'm gonna put little dots over my skin. I like this foundation because I tend to have to mix my foundations. Either they're a little bit too warm for my skin tone or they come off a little bit too gray on my skin tone. So I tend to have to mix to neutralize that out. This is one of the only foundations where I don't necessarily have to do that. So I'm very happy and grateful for this. And it keeps me matte all day. And I'm going to go ahead and press and roll this into my skin, kind of like I'm kneading dough. So next, now that I have the foundation on, I'm gonna go in with my Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer in shade Y49. And I'm also gonna put a little bit of that on the back of my hand. I'm gonna go in again with my sponge. I'm gonna put little dots underneath my eyes and around underneath my nose. I'm just gonna do the press and roll method that I like to do, press and roll. Okay, then I like to go ahead and use a little bit of the Soft Light blurring powder from Becca. It's in the shade Golden Hour. It's a loose base powder. You could use it to set your makeup because it does have the same kind of formula that does that. I don't usually set my face with this. I do use it more for a highlight because it does have like a subtle, not only does it blur pores and things like that, but also gives you a subtle glow too. So I'm gonna take my sponge, and there's a little bit already in the top, so I'm just gonna grab that, swirl it around, take a little bit of it, not too much, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on the highest points of my cheekbones. And this I am gonna press into my skin. I'm not gonna let it set or bake. I'm gonna press it right on in. And I do also like to go down the bridge of my nose with this to give me a little highlight, and on my forehead. Next, I'm going to actually set my makeup with the Laura Mercier setting powder, loose setting powder. And it's just in the original translucent powder. I'm gonna take a little bit of that, again using my sponge. And because we're gonna do eyeshadow next, and I don't want a lot of fallout, or if I do end up having fallout, I want the setting powder to also catch it. So it's doing two jobs. It's setting my makeup so that way it stays put throughout the day, but it also catches any excess fallout that I might have. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that, put it right underneath my under eye. And again, don't worry about the shade because it is a translucent powder. So once everything is all set, no pun intended, I'm gonna take off the excess, and it's gonna be as if it was never there. It's gonna help control my oils too, so. Now what I like to do is prime my eyes. I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Step 1 primer. And I'm gonna do like a dot. So I'm gonna put that on both of my eyes and work that in. And it just like disappears right into your eye. And it's gonna allow the eyeshadow to have something to adhere to. And it also allows the eyeshadow to last longer and the colors to really stand out. So you get the best bang for your buck by priming your eyes. It's a lightweight primer too. Now what I like to do is go ahead and do my eyebrows. I'm gonna be using the Benefit Precisely Brow in shade number 5. I'm gonna do this off camera and then I'll be right back. So I'm back. If you would like a tutorial on how I did my brows, please feel free to comment below and I will be glad to do that for you. Now we're gonna go in with the star of the show, and it's going to be the new Nude Palette by Huda. Such beautiful shades. I love this palette, love it. So I'm gonna go in with my MAC 270 brush, and I'm gonna pick up the shade Play and a little bit of the shade Bare, and I'm gonna mix them together and they're gonna be my base. I'm putting that all over the lid. Next, I'm gonna go in with this middle shade right here, Tickle. It's kind of like a soft dusty rose color. And I'm gonna put that right underneath where my orbital bone is, but not all the way up to the brow, but right where my orbital bone is. I'm gonna put that starting from there down. Now I'm gonna go in with that raw right here. And I'm using my LA Time medium brush, fluffy brush, and it's number 205. And I'm just gonna start by packing that on the outer corner. And then put a little bit on the inner corner. So I'm keeping the center, that light shade, and I'm focusing mainly on the inner and outer corner of my eyes because we are doing a halo look. One of the things that I like about this particular palette is that it is universal and it's complementary for a lot of skin tones. Now, because I don't have a lot of lid space and my crease is so close to my lid area, I have to exaggerate a little bit so that way you emphasize the halo. And some people can do a full halo over their eye, unfortunately, because again, I don't have enough space to allow that to happen. I like to give a mock halo look or a substitute halo look, which is complementary again for any eye shape, so you don't have to have a full lid space to achieve a halo look. Even with someone such as myself that doesn't have a lot of lid space and you still want to do a halo look, you can definitely do that with this palette or any other palette that you want to play around with. You just have to kind of trick the eye to make it seem as if you have more space to work with. So a little bit more of that raw. Next, I am going to go ahead and blend out this look, and I am going to be using and I'm just going in the shape to like a soft V both ways, so that way it just blends out, and you can see that the center is still a lighter shade than the outer corners. I'm going to go again in with my 205 brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that spank, which is the top corner, and I'm gradually building up the deeper shades on the outer and the inner corner of my eye, keeping the center the light shade. I don't know about you guys, but I get so giddy when a new palette comes out. And I'm one of those people, I'm like, I don't need a new palette. And then I justify the reason for me buying a new palette. I'm like, I don't need a new palette in my life. No, I have so many of them. And then I'm like, wait, you can never have too many eyeshadow palettes. Because you're always thinking of and creating different things with different looks, and plus different brands have different formulas, so you kind of want to experiment with them all. So my reasoning for purchasing a new palette is like, I have to experiment because people need to know how these work. Packing it on both ways. Again, going in with my featherweight brush. Now I'm going to go in with my Zoeva Petite Crease Brush. It's number 231, and I'm gonna pick up, because now I'm really concentrating on getting those deeper shades in. I'm gonna be using the Love Bite, which is, I believe, the deepest shade. It's the deeper purple, because Tease is kind of a deep shade too, but I would say that this is probably the most pronounced. I'm gonna go in with the Love Bite, using that crease brush. And I'm keeping this mainly on my lid. I'm not bringing it up too much because I'm gonna blend it out, so that way it still has that definition of that color, but not too harsh. And then I'm gonna go in again with my featherweight brush. That's how I like it. Now this one, I'm going to be using Kinky, which is the soft shimmer shade in it. I'm gonna actually be using my ring finger and picking that up because it's very creamy. One thing I do like about the Huda palettes is that they do have creamy formulas, so you don't necessarily have to use a brush to apply it. I'm gonna use my finger. I don't even have to spray my finger to get it to be pigmented. Again, just using a little bit, and I'm gonna pat that on in the center. This also controls how much fallout you get because it's a controlled area. Now this, I am going a little bit above my lid space and just above my crease, so you can kind of see how it's starting to show the halo, how the outer corners and the inner corner of my eye is a muted matte tone, and then I have the shimmer right in the center. And it's okay if you go outside a little bit with the creamy eyeshadow, because we are gonna clean that up too. Beautiful. I'm gonna go in again with my Zoeva brush, pick up a little bit more of the Love Bite, which is the deeper shade, and I'm blending out those edges so that way I don't have any harsh lines. All right. And last time, I'm gonna go ahead and blend that out with my featherweight brush. I think I like it. Perfect. So to amp up this look just a tad, I am gonna take the Stila the Magnificent glitters, the liquid glitter, and I'm gonna put it over the shimmer shade Kinky, just to kind of amp it up, just enough. And just like I did with Kinky, I'm gonna put a little bit of that glitter on my ring finger. Oh, and by the way, it is Diamond Dust is the shade that I'm using for the glitter. And I'm gonna put that right in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want a little bit of fluxes of that silver in the eye. Next, I'm gonna go in with my eyeliner. I'm gonna be using Kat Von D's liquid tattoo liquid liner in the shade Trooper. Now I'm gonna go with my mascara. I'm gonna be using Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. I'm still gonna let the glue dry down on my lashes, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go in again with the Nude Palette, the new Nude Palette, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of the Spanked and put it underneath my eyes. And now I'm gonna pick up a little bit of Love Bite. And now my lashes should be tacky. I'm gonna put those on. And now I'm gonna go ahead and line my waterline. I'm going to be using the Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel in the shade Black. Now I'm going to take a little bit of Crave, which is that beautiful kind of crush eyeshadow, marble-esque, it looks marbly. And a little bit of Daydream, which is the pink that's right underneath it. I'm gonna mix the two. And I'll put those in my inner tear ducts. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take off the remainder of the setting spray, or excuse me, setting powder off my face. Again, my technique, my press and roll, pressing it into the skin. Like I mentioned before in the beginning of the video, the translucent powder is going to disappear. Now we're gonna go ahead and finish off the look. I'm gonna first go in with the Anastasia powder bronzer in the shade Mahogany to give a little bit more warmth back into my skin. Just a soft cover. And I'm just using the old Eco Tools angle brush. Pretty. Now I want to blush. So I'm going to use MAC blush in the shade Devil, which is a reddish color. Don't be alarmed, we're not going to use a lot of it. A little bit goes a long way, just to give a little bit more color into her cheeks. And I like to lay that right over top of the bronzer. And I'm going to highlight. I love highlighting. So I like to use two products. I love to highlight. First, I'm gonna go in with the MAC Golden Bronze. It's the iridescent loose powder. A little bit of this goes a long way, so I'm just gonna take a little bit that's in the top. go in with my cutesy little highlighting brush and just tap that through. You see that? Isn't that pretty? Tap it through. Distribute it on both sides. Tap it through. And then I'm just gonna blend it out. That is so pretty. And on the other side. The reason why I like to tap it through and then blend it is because it allows you to control how much product you're putting on, and you don't want to go overboard with too much highlight. And this girl loves her highlights. And last of the highlights, I'm going to be using Becca's Topaz. This is a beautiful bronzy color, bronzy goldish color, complimentary for women of color. And for those who are a little bit more of a deeper shade of tone, they do also have, it's called Chocolate Geode, which is such a beautiful warm but chocolatey gold. And that's complimentary for women who are a little bit deeper complexion than I am. Such a pretty color. So if you feel like this shade is a little bit too light, you could definitely go with that one. So we've done that. Now we're going to go ahead and finish it off with the lips. I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty contour, the contour lip in the shade Trophy Wife to line my lips. So since we don't want to take away from the eyeshadow, we're just going to keep it very soft and nudie for the lips. I don't typically line my lips, so I prefer to stay on the outer portions of my lips and keep the center of my bottom lip open. And then I do like to pat without actually touching the bottom. Next, we're gonna go in with our color. We're gonna be using the Kat Von D's lip in the shade Bow and Arrow, which is a nice neutral nude. And we're gonna start off in the center of our lips. And this is the reason why I like to keep the center neutral. And last but not least, I like to gloss it up. So I'm gonna be using the Fenty Balm by Fenty Beauty. Take a little bit of that. All over. So this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit subscribe at the bottom and like this video. You can also hit the bell so that way when I upload new videos, you'll be the first to be notified. Thank you.